All right, you got it. You go down a little bit more.
Can you hear me? Can you
Yes,
hear me?
not too good.
On the speaker. Well,
Yes.
can you see us?
Yeah, can you adjust your camera downward just a little, just a tad?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. No. That's better. Yeah. Yes, perfect. That's perfect.
Sorry.
So we're gonna do our preliminaries. I think I did. We're at Louisiana Transition Center for Women on July 25th, 2023. Now it is 9:18 a.m. And would staff please introduce yourself for the records?
My name is Phyllis Jones, Program Coordinator.
All right, thank you for working with us on the technical issues.
Thank
And
you.
this is Miss Howard.
Yes, ma'am.
Would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and your DOC number, please.
I'm Freddie May Howard, DOC number 179823.
All right, and let's see, you've been through this process before, so you know how it works. Ms. Howard, you're classified as a 7th felony offender. You're currently serving a 12-year sentence as a habitual offender for distribution of cocaine. Your parole eligibility date was September 27, 2021. You have a good time date, October 2nd, 2029, and your full term date is September 27, 2030. Does all that sound correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, your case has been assigned to Mrs. Jackson. Would you answer her questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, Ms. Howard. How are you today?
I'm fine. Thank you.
That's good. You're 58 years old,
Yes, ma'am.
and how long have you been incarcerated on this charge?
4 years and 10 months.
It was a distribution of cocaine where you were treated as a habitual offender and you received a 12-year sentence. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you actually appeared before the board on November 30th of 21, and you were denied on that date. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So tell us what you've done since you were denied on November 30th, 2021. What did you do after that?
Yes, ma'am. Well, I enrolled in the risk management, which is a 12-step program. And I was in there for 6 months. It was a 6 months program. And
When was that? What time period did that cover?
that was in December the 6th of 21. And I finished in August of 22.
Okay. Well, that's a little longer than 6 months.
Well, it was like during the COVID time, and there were days off, and it was some absent days, and we had to make up for those days that we missed.
Well, let's talk a little bit about you as a person before we get into what you've done during your incarceration. How many children do you have?
9.
And what are their ages?
They are, my oldest is 39 and my baby is 15.
Okay, and how many do you have under the age of 18?
2,
And what age is the other one?
17 and 15.
And where are those two living? Who's taking care of them?
They're my aunt, my sister, and my son lived with his aunt, his father's sister.
Okay. Obviously, Ms. Howard, you have a long history of substance abuse issues. Is that correct?
Very much.
When did you first start using drugs?
I started smoking marijuana, which is a gateway drug, at age 16, and at age 19, I started using cocaine.
Why'd you do that?
Well, I was troubled. I was going through some grief, and I was just hanging out with the wrong people, and was just doing anything and everything that I would thought that I was, that I could do and get away with it.
Why were you having so many children? Given your addiction and your inability to take care of yourself, why were you having so many kids?
Well, I guess I was just blessed with him. I didn't get my tubes tied, and I would get out, why was I having
But
too
you
much?
don't have to, getting your tube tied in the only form of birth control.
No, it wasn't.
And I bet during that time, other family members were having to take care of children.
Yes, ma'am. My family has supported me all my life.
And I'm talking about your children.
My children also.
So how do you feel about the fact that your children had to be raised by other people because of your choices to become involved in drugs?
Well, I very much appreciate my family, and I feel like they was the next, because I was sick. I wasn't able to take care of my kids. I was an addict, and
Let me ask you, how do you think it impacted their lives to have to take care of your children?
well,
Did you ever think about that? How having to raise your children impacted their lives? They did it because they had no other choice, but how do you think that impacted your lives?
How do I think that impacted their lives?
Mhm.
Well, I'm sure at some point they got tired. I mean, but out of their love for me,
You
stepped
make it okay, so it's like, okay, they did this because they love me, but you don't have any understanding of the burden you put on them, the financial burden, just the stress of having to raise a bunch of kids. Like you think, oh, well, they should do that because they love me. And I don't see that you're taking any ownership, that you've made some decisions that not only have affected you, but have affected 9 other human beings, as well as your family members.
Well, I mean, they know that I was in my addiction, and
Act like that's something like, oh, I was in my
I'm
addiction.
not proud of that. No, ma'am, I'm not. But at that time, I was sick, and I was confused, and I was troubled, and
Why were you so troubled? Why were you so troubled? Troubled
because
about,
I was involved. Excuse me, I was involved in relationships, bad relationships that I shouldn't have been in.
did you graduate from high school?
No, ma'am.
How far did you go in high school?
The 9th grade.
And did you get pregnant around that time? Is that why you stopped going to school?
No, I can't say I did. No, I got pregnant when I was 20. My first child.
Why'd you stop going to school in the 9th grade?
I guess I was just running wild. I mean, to be honest with you, ma'am,
Who were you living with?
my mother.
And in the 9th grade, I can't imagine you were in these relationships that were bad, not in the 9th grade. So I'm trying to get you to get to the root of why you've made so many bad choices your whole life. And part of being able to rectify that is to understand yourself, understand why you made those mistakes, so that you know how to avoid making those mistakes in the future. Because, quite frankly, you're a 7th offender. And so you continue to engage in criminal activity. I'm sure you've gone to jail multiple times, and every time you get out of jail, you go right back to the same kind of behavior. And what I'm trying to learn is, have you gained any real understanding of why you continue to make bad decisions? Because if you haven't figured that out, then you're not going to break that cycle. Now, why is it in the ninth grade you decided you didn't want to go to school?
Well, I was, like I say, that I was involved with older people and they were using drugs, and I got on drugs, and I went through, I was raped, and, you know, I was
How
just.
were you when you were, you say that you were sexually assaulted? How old were you when that happened?
14.
Okay, was it ever reported to law enforcement?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so you stopped going to school in the ninth grade. And you obviously weren't old enough to work, so what did you do after you dropped out?
I hung around with people, bad people who I shouldn't have been with. I made bad choices.
Why did you choose those people? That's what I'm trying to get you to see. Why did you choose those people? Because I'm sure there were other people who were doing positive things. So why did you choose those people? Because everything is a choice. So why did you make those choices?
Well, I guess some of the choices were, I was, you know, it could have been peer pressure, or I was just going with the people, that going with the crowd, that just going with the party. To be honest with you.
Okay, so why should I think anything has changed? You liked that life. That's why you stayed in it. So why should I think that it's going to be any different when I look at your history and I see this pattern over and over and over and over and over again?
Well, because for one, I'm older now and I've totally surrendered.
No, let's stop right there. You have only been in prison less than 5 years, so you were in your early 50s, mid to early 50s, when you got this charge. So you weren't young.
No,
Okay.
but I was actively in my addiction then. Now,
What kind of treatment did you seek for your addiction before you came to prison?
before I came to prison,
Mhm.
I went to this place called the Green Door. I went to meetings at times. I went to meetings.
No, let's. Okay, you recognize you had an addiction,
Yes,
but you didn't see, but you weren't motivated even by the fact that you had all those kids. You weren't motivated to do something to help yourself. And I'm sure at some point during your previous criminal incidents, you were ordered to go through substance abuse treatment, correct?
yes, ma'am.
Did you ever complete a single substance abuse program?
Yes, ma'am.
Which one?
Celebrate Recovery
When did you do that?
at LTCW.
I'm talking about, and how long ago was that?
When was that? In 20 and
I'm talking about before you came to prison this time. I'm sure you were ordered as a condition of probation or a condition of parole to enroll in some substance abuse program. And my question is, did you finish any of the programs that you were ordered to complete either on parole or probation?
I finished a 6-month class at IOP in St. Tammany Parish. I finished that, but I wasn't on parole when I caught this charge here, so I was not ordered to
Well,
go.
but again, if you knew you had an addiction, nobody should have to order you to go anywhere. You should want to do that for yourself.
That is correct. Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
You know, we have people who are in jail and they want to present well and, you know, they want to say all the right things. And this is not your first time being in jail. It's not the first time you've been paroled. And yet you continue to engage in the same behavior. And I'm trying to get a sense from you. You know, it's almost like you're saying, well, I was in my addiction, as if that's something that you, well, that's an excuse. I was in my addiction. And that's what it sounds like to me. So tell me why I should think things would be any different if you're released early this time.
If I'm released early, ma'am, I would be involved in a church community in my 12-step program, and I would be submitted
But why should I believe it?
because I've been enrolled in a 1-year faith-based program at in Monroe, Louisiana. And there I will be going to 90 days, 90 meetings. I will have a sponsor. I will
You're missing my point. How do I know that you're gonna follow through with it?
How do you know?
Mhm.
Well, if you would like to, you can contact the facility.
I'm not saying those things aren't in place, but that doesn't mean you're gonna follow through. It does.
Oh, I will. I vow to follow through.
Convince me of that, because I don't have a reason to believe you. Convince me of it. Tell me why I should believe that this time things are gonna be different.
Because I have turned my life and my will over to the care of God. And with God, I can succeed and become a productive and positive citizen.
You know, it would have been nice to hear I'm sick of being a drug addict. No, I'm telling you what to say now. That's not what you said. You know, I regret that I have not been a good mother to my children. I regret that I have put the burden of raising my children on other people. And I'm just tired of this life. And I didn't hear that from you. I hear probably what you said at every other parole hearing you had. And yet here we are, back again. So what program, well, let's talk about risk management 1 and 2. Tell me about that.
The risk management, I did that in 21 and the beginning of 22. And what you want to know, are you asking me what did I get out of risk management?
Absolutely.
Okay. I would say I got out of risk management that I could succeed if I put forth my effort and would put all my energy into staying clean and sober by following the 12-step program.
Okay, so how do you do that? Tell me what the steps are. Tell me what you have to do.
First, I have to admit that I'm powerless over my addiction and that I cannot do it alone without the help from God. And I have to seek counsel every day and have someone to support me and have accountability and give an accountability for my actions. And it also teaches that I should respect others and ask for forgiveness and to promptly admit when I'm wrong and be willing and be honest and have the acceptance and be able to accept things as they are and not what I think they should be.
So have you done any of those things?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me the steps that you've done already.
Well, I made, I did a personal inventory and I looked at all my character defects and my selfishness and my, me being dishonest, all the lying and scheming, and it teaches me that I need to put away the con game and not, minimize and have poor impulse control, which is one of my character defects. It's like self-will runs riot sometime, and it teaches me that I need to go back and analyze my situations and make better choices.
So what better choices do you think you need to make going forward?
To go forward, I think the first choice would be is to do something that I've never done before, and that is to change my people, places, and things.
Okay, and why do you think you never did that before?
Because the only time I ever went away from my house was to go to jail, and going to this 12-year, this faith-based program, I will be surrounded by people that are sick like myself.
You went a lot of places from your house. You went to the places where you were buying drugs. You went to the places where you were hanging out with the wrong crowd. They didn't come to your house to do all that. You went to where they were.
Yes, ma'am.
See, I still feel like it's not being honest with yourself.
Oh, man, my recovery, I am being honest. I don't mean to sound defensive, but I know that I'm still sick and that it's going to be all the time. I mean, it's going to take every day of my life to be in sobriety, to be in recovery in order to recover.
But sobriety is hard. Recovery is hard. And in the past, you haven't been willing to do hard things. You haven't been willing to stay in school. You haven't been willing to raise all those kids that you brought into the world. So you haven't had a history of being able to do the hard things.
Right. Correct. Well, that's why that is my past. That's my history. My plan is to go forward, and succeed.
However, I want to hear concrete steps. You have to have, to get to a goal, you have to have steps that will take you there. I want to hear your steps.
Well, the first step will be to have a job. I have a job that's waiting on me at the Kingdom Recovery, and to work my steps daily and stay tuned and connected to my higher power.
That's it. Just get a job. And how do you stay connected to a higher power? I hear people say that. What does that mean?
Read my daily devotions, go out, hang out with people, go in the rooms and listen and sit and engage and with people who are clean and sober and who are on the same road, traveling the same road, and who've been down the journey that I'm attempting to.
Where would you live?
I'm sorry.
Where would you live?
Where would I live?
Mm-hmm.
I would live at the faith-based house in Monroe at the Kingdom Recovery.
How long?
It's a 12-month, 6 months to 12-month program year.
How long do you think you would stay there?
Well, I would start with the 12 months.
And then what?
And then I would be able to stand, I would be able to go home or go wherever I choose to go.
Where's home?
In Covington, Louisiana.
Okay, so is that your plan? You said wherever you choose to go, or where you think you choose to go?
Where would I choose to go? I would go to my family.
And who would you live with there?
I would live with my sister, or maybe I could get my own apartment.
Who's in the room with you? Is there a prison official in the room with you?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, can you tell us anything? What do you know about Miss Howard?
I've never had her in any classes that I've taught, but I do know that she was active in the classes that she attended.
What classes do you teach?
I don't teach any. I don't teach any now, but at one time I was teaching MRT and the short-term substance abuse and reentry.
What other substance abuse programs do you offer there besides risk management 1 and 2?
We have living in balance as well. That's considered a substance abuse class.
Have you taken living in balance?
Yes, she's taking living in balance 1 and 2, both phases. And 3, yeah.
Okay, and any other? Those are the only substance abuse classes you have there?
Yes, ma'am.
What'd you get out of living in balance, Miss Howard?
I got living in balance. We worked on being trustworthy and sexuality and learning how to cope with conflict, stressors, dealing with relationships.
Well, I have to know.
All right, we have some folks who joined us who would like to speak on behalf of Ms. Howard. We have her son, Ryan Brown. Ryan, could we hear from you now? You muted.
Ma'am.
Excuse me, can you hear me?
Yes.
How y'all doing today?
Good.
I just want to say that I've been going through this with my mom. I'm 37 now. Really, all my life. I believe I was maybe 5 years old, and my grandmother, she raised me. She's my legal guardian. She adopted me. But other than jail, I've been knowing my mom, and she's a real, how can I put it? She got a lot of life in her. She's 58. I could literally say I've seen her mature in the last maybe 4 or 5 years since she's been in jail. Like I said, this is not our first rodeo. Usually when I speak to her from jail, she got a lot of play in her. This last time right here, like I could see the maturity in her. It's not when she calls, it's not anymore, hey son, what's going on out there? Or any of that. That's really not her concern, as far as I can see. I don't think that she wants to come out here and indulge back in the world that she was in. And like I said, I knew my mom on both sides. Like, I've been in trouble before too. And I've been in the world with her, if I could say that and such. And I mean, I've changed my life. If I can change, I know she can change. She says she want to change. I mean, I ain't good at this. I get nervous, but like I said, I feel like she's matured a lot. I know 7 convictions is a lot. That's a long time, and like you say, she's not young. She's not young by far, but I think she's ready to come raise the 2 kids that she have left, or possibly help grandkids. I mean, we totally gonna support her. I mean, we hear she has a support system, that's for sure. Every time, she just gotta want to do it herself. That's really all I have to say. I don't really know. I don't really know what to say. You know.
Well, you did a good job, and we appreciate you speaking with us this morning. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we have Robin Jackson, Ms. Howard's sister. Ms. Jackson? You're on mute.
Mhm.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm Robin Jackson. I'm Freddie May's sister. Me and her, we're a year apart, so we were always together um, until, I guess, until like ninth, 10th grade. We started separating because of choices that she made. But I do feel like um, for the first time that I think that she might come home and do right because she doesn't want to just come home right now. Every time she got ready for parole, she was like, I'm getting out, I'm getting out. And when she told me she chose to go to a program for a year before she come home, I just felt like that was growth. And I did raise one of her daughters, and a sister, my other sister raised another two of her daughters in Northern Virginia, and they all grew up together. They worked for the government. They went to college. We did the best we can do for all of her kids, not to just to not separate them. And all of them know her as their mother. Um, and like my nephew said, she's always had a support system. And I even let her know that she could come and stay with me when she gets out of the 12-month program. I live in Slidell. I work for FedEx. I've been here 26 years. I'm getting ready to retire. I want to do whatever I can to help her to better her situation and to put her in a better place to live. I haven't lived here too long. I lived in Northern Virginia, but I'm here now. She could stay with me. She doesn't have to go back to the same place that she keeps going back to. You know, you kind of live what you see daily, and if I can get her out of that, I'm willing to do it. My mother always felt like she was worth keeping, and so we have always kept her. And I just feel in my heart that she's ready this time.
Good. Well, thank you. She's fortunate to have your support.
Yes, ma'am.
Miss Howard, is there something you'd like to say to us before we vote?
Yes, ma'am. It is my prayer that you would grant me my parole today so that I can have another chance to go out and do something that I've never done before, and that's succeed and to stay clean and to stay sober and to work. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Ms. Jones,
Yes, ma'am.
do y'all offer victim awareness there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay. We're ready to vote, Mrs. Jackson.
Ms. Howard, this is hard. It really is. And I hope as you listen to your son, as you listen to your sister, their hopes have been dashed time and time again by your failure to do what you needed to do for them. There's only so many times you can disappoint people before they just can't deal with it anymore. I have serious concerns about you. They hear, one thing, they hear improvement, but I hear somebody that still has some work to do. I do. I wish I had a better feeling about you, but quite frankly, I don't. But, I'm willing to take a chance on you, but I will grant your request for an early release, but only after you have taken victim awareness. Because you really need to understand how your actions have victimized everybody in your life. You've created a whole trail of victims by your choices. And you need to learn and understand that your addiction isn't just about you. It's about those kids who grew up without a mom. It's about your siblings and your mom who had to take on the responsibility that you should have been shouldering. You need to understand how your choices affect other people. And so my vote is to grant your early release after completion of living in balance. And then upon release, what's the name of the program in Monroe?
Ma'am, excuse me, she's already completed living in balance.
No, I meant victim awareness. I'm sorry, victim awareness. After she completes victim awareness, and then once she's released, what's the name of the place in Monroe?
P31.
Say it again. Come back closer to the microphone. I couldn't hear
P31, Proverbs 31.
you. Okay. Okay, upon release, you are to immediately report to P31 and stay there for a minimum of 1 year. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
And then upon completion of P31, you are to attend at least 2 AA or NA meetings per week for the duration of your supervision.
Thank you.
Ms. Jones, do you have any documentation that P31 has or will accept her?
Yes, ma'am. She emailed me yesterday evening.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Freeman?
Okay, I'm kind of like Judge Jackson. I see your family support, and I think your family support is super, but it's not your family that's gonna be on supervision, it's you. And I just don't feel it, due to a poor criminal record and supervision record, my vote is to deny.
And Ms. Howard, I saw you last time you were up and I voted for you then. I vote for you now again for the same reasons I told you back then. However, in your case, as then, you require a unanimous vote, I believe. You don't qualify for the 2/3 vote because you don't have your GED and because you don't have a low risk score. So today your parole's been denied. You've got some work to do. Take Mrs. Jackson's remarks to heart and do the victim awareness, but you got a little more work to do. Good luck to you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brown and Ms. Jackson, for participating today.
Thank you.
I listened to before to see if you can make out their conversation. You can, so that's why I'm just stopping it now. There's no hot mic on this one. I gotta tell you, 9 kids with 7 felonies. That might be a first for us here, and we'll do a hearing after this. You know, I agree with Miss Jackson. I had the same vibes, if you want to call it that, or kind of feeling. What stuck out most, it's like, we have seen people who are in situations where they're habitual offenders, where they have a major, substance abuse problem, and they're ready, they're tired. And that's what Miss Jackson was looking for. She wanted her to say, are you tired? But it was just trying to, she was like going through the routine, like Miss Jackson said, you're saying, you probably said this before at all the other parole hearings. And as you can see the color of the shirt like this. You know, and if there's anything glass half full, it's just that she has, it's, you know, at least you saw at the parole hearing, a beautiful family that that took her kids, and it's like she said, they said gave them a wonderful life, and they're doing really well, and that is just a wonderful thing. But you know, we kept trying to hear from her as, you know, some type of empathy or connection or gratitude for what people have done, and you didn't get the sense of it. I just couldn't see it. And there was like no real plan when she got, and it was just, I felt that if, yeah, they would have let her out, it would have been a disaster. On the flip side, saying take one more program like victim awareness, come on, really, like it's going to do anything either. What they had suggested by going to an inpatient specialized treatment program for a year and then having all those built-in conditions, I thought that was the best idea, because it's a specialized program that you would think would actually, I don't know why they don't have Steve Hoyle for, but this inpatient thing for 1 year seemed to me like an excellent idea. Much just seems like it'd be much more effective than prison. The whole idea is to build in those habits of what sobriety would mean. But we have seen people who have hit rock bottom, and it's a different kind of interview. You just feel it. And oftentimes they take those, they volunteer to take those shots, which make it impossible for you to get intoxicated. And it's just a different feel. And he didn't get that there. I do agree with. But still, I think that program would have been the right choice, and I don't know why Mr. Freeman shot it down. I don't really understand that. I just don't. But 9 kids and 7 felonies. Wow. But it didn't seem like she was taking accountability. The answer was, well, I didn't get my tubes tied. And Miss Jackson's like, well, there's other forms of birth control. And hey, I'm all for, I'm one of 8. I have 7 siblings, so only 1 child left. So I'm not saying, you know, you want to have 9 kids, great, but obviously to have each kid and then just hand them off to all of your relatives and just keep doing it, and then to not really even show any connection of responsibility or appreciation, is like just lacking it all. It's kind of scary and sad and a lot of different things all at the same time. So we'll do one more here at Women's Prison. And let's see what we get.
Right. Good, let me see. Good morning. We get to your file. Would you introduce yourself, tell us your name and DOC number, please? Hope y'all are still on mute.
Okay, my name is Jamie Yonker, 577-290, ma'am.
All right, Miss Yonker. Let me read some identifying information into the record, and then Mr. Freeman will be taking the lead on the parole interview with you. I want you to know we have your aunt who's joined us by Zoom. I think you can probably see her, Miss Sandy, and she wants to speak for you. We'll call on her at the appropriate time to do so.
Yes,
Before we vote, you'll be allowed to make a statement.
yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, Miss Yonker, you're classified as a third felony offender. You're currently serving a 6-year sentence as a habitual offender for possession of heroin. You had a parole eligibility date, which was April 11th, 2021. Your good time date is November 30th, 2025. Full term is in May of 2026. Does all that sound correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, would you answer Mr. Freeman's questions?
Okay, Miss Yonker, how old are you?
I'm 38, sir.
Okay, and how long have you been in jail on this charge?
I have been here 4 years, and prior to this, I did 3 years prior to that on the same charge.
Okay, been there 4 years then, okay. Ms. Yonker, it seems that you have a serious drug problem. Am I correct in stating that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what have you done about your drug problem?
Since being here, I did the MAP program. I did that for an entire year. I'm a mentor in that program, and I have been a mentor in that program for about a year now. I have did thinking for a change. I have did risk management, and I'm also in living in balance. And I plan to get the big toss shot and go to a transitional house upon release, whenever I'm released from here. Because I know that I'm an addict and I'm going to struggle with this for the rest of my life. But this is not what I want to do.
Okay, Ms. Yonkers, the MAP program, are you gonna take the medication when you get out?
Yes, sir. The good patrol, yes, sir.
Okay, and this transitioning housing, has that already been approved? Have you been accepted?
I've been trying to find one, sir, but everyone that I've called so far has said that they're full. I was hoping that, I'm supposed to talk to the transitional specialist here. She's gonna help me find housing. So I am also a vet, and I have talked to the lady from the VA in Alexander came to see me 2 months ago, and she also set me up in their program too, where they're gonna help me get a housing voucher and stuff like that. But I did explain to her that I plan on going to a transitional house. So,
Okay,
somewhere in New Orleans.
someone to live with if while you're waiting on all of this?
I mean, I do, yes, sir. But I plan on going to a house. straight
Yeah, I
from-
understand, but who would that be with if you?
Probably my brother. Sir, and I don't have the address right now because we just moved. But yeah, because my aunt lives way in Illinois, so.
You look at your opposition, no comment from the judge, the district attorney is opposed. He said you're a 4th felony offender and you were removed from the reentry court program. Why were you removed from that program?
I was removed from that program, sir, because I did some drugs and it ended up being fentanyl and I OD'd for the first time ever. And
Okay. The sheriff is opposed, the chief is unopposed. We hadn't had a comment from your family, from your mother or your brother, I guess it is, Brian. So, are either one of them gonna be here today to speak?
Doesn't look like they are, sir. I gave him the information, but, he has his own stuff going on. So, and my mom is dead, and my dad is dead, so.
Ms. Yonker, it's concerning because you've been on supervision you've had 5 revocations. What is gonna be your sobriety plan when you get out from the transitional housing?
Like I said, I plan on going there, I plan on getting a job, I plan on going to meetings. Before I was incarcerated this time, I was in a program with the VA. It was an intensive outpatient program where I was going to 2 meetings a week. I was going to see a mental health doctor every week. I was getting drug tested every week. I plan on doing things like that, and keeping a job and getting my own place. I don't want to commit no more crime, and I don't want to be an addict. I don't want to be on drugs for the rest of my life, and I don't want to die. I don't. That's not what I want. And since I've been here, I have tried doing everything possible to change that, and not just classes. I've worked. I'm the head cook on my ship. I've done this job for almost 4 years. And I'm about to get a degree too in communications and business management for Aspen University. This is my last semester. I've also did that. And right now I'm currently working and going to school.
Okay. You have a low risk, but you have a very high need, which is understandable due to your drug problem. Was your MAT program, was that the long-term program or the short-term?
It was long-term. I was in it for a year.
Are you currently attending AA meetings over there right now?
I mean, I go to Miss Haley, who's the math teacher. I do go to her class from time to time. Like I said, I have a mentor, and we do have NA meetings virtually.
Okay. Yet, some unauthorized use of removable charges. I failed to mention that both of those victims were opposed because, they feel like you're a career criminal. And if you look at your record, you look like a career criminal. So, if you get a chance this time, it's probably gonna be your last.
I know.
Next time you probably get habitual offender, and you'll be doing a lot of time. Warden, what can you tell me about Miss Yonker?
Ms. Jones.
Miss Jones.
Miss Jones. Yes, sir. That's what can you tell him about me? Oh. Have you had any interactions with Jamie? No, she's in the process. I really don't know much about Jamie other than she is a hard worker. She works really, really hard in the kitchen area. That's really all I can tell you, honestly.
You don't know if has she had any disciplinary problems?
No, she hasn't had any disciplinaries in the last year. She is attending Ashland. She's in the last semester of school with that. She is a mentor for the MAT program. And yes, sir, that's all I can tell you. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Jones.
You're welcome.
I have no further questions.
Miss Yonker, you mentioned you were getting services through the VA.
Yes, ma'am.
And you were doing meetings and treatment. Why'd you stop?
Because they sent me to prison.
So while you were getting those services, you were still using, or you were waiting?
No, I went to detox and I was not using it all, ma'am. I was doing drug tests every week and everything, but St. Tammany Parish did not care that I was in treatment and I was doing things for the VA. They still sent me to prison.
And you intend to reconnect with the VA whenever you're released?
Yes, ma'am.
I think
And
that's
I spoke to somebody from the Alexandria part of it, and she put me in the system. She brought me on my DD 214, but I did tell her that I wanted to go to New Orleans because I'm from that's where I was in the program at, was in New Orleans. I'm familiar with them in their hospital and their services. Yes, ma'am.
and do you have any children?
Yes, ma'am. I have one daughter. She's 15, but she is. I don't have custody of her anymore. She stays with my stepmom in North Carolina. But I do want to be part of her life, but I know I can't do that till I have my own life straight.
Yeah, you got to get yourself straight first. All right, let's hear. We'd like to hear any questions.
How long were you in what branch of the military were you in?
The U.S. Army, ma'am, and I was in it for 6 years.
And when did you discharge?
2010.
And was that an honorable discharge?
Yes, ma'am.
So you weren't having any substance abuse issues while you were in the military?
No, ma'am. My substance abuse issues really it really started when I came back from deployment, like, but I didn't get in trouble at all. I was in the reserves when I came back from deployment, but because of my PTSD, so it intensified.
So where were you deployed?
I went to Kuwait and Iraq, ma'am. In OIF 0506.
Thank you.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Miss Sandy, we'd like to hear from you. And would you please pronounce your last name for us? You have to unmute your microphone.
The last name is Welma, Weelmaa.
Thank you. Go ahead. We'd like to hear what you want us to know about your niece.
So I was also present for the last parole hearing where she got denied. And truthfully, I think that's the best thing that could have happened to her over the past 2 years. Her and I are in constant communication. She's excited about school. She's excited about trying to get out, make a life for herself, to reconnect with her daughter since both her parents have passed since she's been in prison. And the whole demeanor of our conversations has changed immensely. And I think knowing personally not having the people in her life that she had before, who I think contributed to her substance abuse issues, she's going to definitely go out and succeed. And hopefully once she gets off of parole, if things aren't doing well in Louisiana, she can come back to Illinois, where she has much support.
Well, thank you. We appreciate you taking time. You're at work?
Yes, I am.
I'm glad you're able to join us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Jamie, is there anything you want to say to us before we vote?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
Okay, I just want to say that I'm truly sorry to everyone that I have affected through my addiction and the crimes that I committed. I didn't realize that everything I did was affecting everybody around me, including everybody in my community. You know, I had a troubled childhood, and I kind of followed in my mother's footsteps, and I don't want my daughter to go through the same thing that I had to go through. And I realize now that, you know, there are other tools and things I can do to deal with my issues instead of trying to run from them and numb myself to them. Like I said, I've been here and I've pretty much done everything possible to better myself and to change my life. You know, I feel like I put everything into my addiction and running after that drug, so why I can't put everything into becoming a better person and productive member in society. And I know my recovery is lifelong. It is something I'm gonna have to work on every day, and I plan on doing that in every way possible. I plan on finding a sponsor, going to transitional house meetings, getting a job, you know, using my support system, my aunt, my brother, and I just pray that y'all will allow me another chance to become a productive member of society and to show y'all that I can do this.
All right. I think we're ready to vote, Mr. Freeman.
Okay, Miss Yonkers, you know, you have had it tough. Drugs have controlled your life. I'm sure your service to our country had a lot to do with it. And I thank you for that service that you gave our country. You know, I really wish you would strongly consider going with your aunt to Illinois. You know, a change of environment sometimes helps greatly, especially when you have family down there that's willing to help you out. But my vote today is going to be to grant and special conditions, attend 3 AA meetings a week and have a curfew from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Mrs. Jackson?
Ms. Yonker, my vote is the same.
I do agree. I want to again echo what Mr. Freeman said. Thank you for your service. My vote is to grant. I would add one special condition, well, a couple, that you reconnect with the VA and you comply with whatever mental health treatment plan is prescribed for you. And then that you say you want to give back. I want you to do that. Speaking to at-risk youth, you have a story to tell that might could help someone else. And I want you to do that 4 hours a month. Your parole officer can help you set that up.
Okay,
Good luck to you.
thank you.
All right. Ms. Jones, that concludes our business at your facility. We're going to sign out. It's 10:55 a.m. Thanks for helping us out today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, that was a complete contrast to what we had just seen, I think. I couldn't find any of her records to go over what she's done, but I think we kind of got a picture painted. But that's what I was talking about. The difference between from her, I really felt like she's ready. She's ready to, she just wants to be sober. Like she wants it. I think she mentioned 4 times that she wants to be at the sober house. It wasn't like, often times you hear people mention it, but then they're like, well, but I'll go here or I'll go there. And she kind of like stuck to it. And she's going to go and take that what's it called? Vivitrol thing, which is like what I was talking about before, but it like prevents you from being able to even get intoxicated. And she has a plan. She has everything like figured out. And you could tell she's just tired. And she has had it rough. I mean, her mother and her father passed away while she's in prison. She's a veteran for 6 years with 2, I think they call it combat tours. I don't know, maybe if Kuwait's considered that, but we don't know if she saw action or not. But I didn't feel like she was using her military as a flex. I kind of felt like it just came up as conversationally, and when they asked about it, and she did mention PTSD, but I have some friends that went to the Army, and they, when they came back, they were never the same. Even if they hadn't seen direct combat, like they might have. It's just, there's just something it can do to some people. Not everyone, but some of my friends, they came back and they just, it was like they didn't know what to do with themselves. It's just without like the structure, or it was like there's one moment they're in the Army and then they're not, and they just interesting too, like her brother doesn't show up to the parole hearing. That's just, it's like, this is everything for you. It's your parole hearing. It's whether you're going to sit in prison for more time. And she didn't have that much time left. I think 2 years, a year or so more but still she wants to get out, and for her brother not to show up, that's gotta hurt. And, but everything about this hearing for me made me believe in her entirely. And that's kind of like the rock bottom that I was referring to. And just the desire, the complete desire to want to just be done, to just stop. And it seems that she had that experience with the overdosing and the fentanyl and the near end experience. That maybe was part of it, but I'm sure her whole life seems to have been difficult. Even her daughter's with her stepmother. It's not your mother, it's your stepmother. Good for her stepmother. I'm trying to think if we should do another one or not. Let me just think about this. I don't know what to do. Yeah, I didn't have it. Was it here? Let's see. Let's see about this one. No, that's too long. It's like an hour long. I'm sorry about this, guys. Now I feel like we have to do one. Maybe we can do. Oh, here's one. I don't know why I didn't think of this. No, but that's. Dun dun dun. Now I feel like I just have to just cut a loss. Okay, how about this one? I think we can do this. All right. So this is on 120. 120. Mark Kratzer. Oops. Mark Kratzer. Yeah, normally I'm a bit more organized, so I apologize. I do apologize about this. It's been a long day. I've been up again since 3 a.m. And so I'm going on 13 hours of being up. And I'm playing softball tonight, which I know is a beautiful thing. And I'm lucky that that is what I'm doing, but kind of makes me a little mentally tired to think about it. So we're at work release. That's typically what this is. Let's see.
Please introduce yourself, state your name and DOC number for the record. You're on mute. You're on mute. I can't hear you on mute. On mute still. Y'all still on mute. Y'all had it last time. There you go.
Okay,
Hey, we got it. All right. Go ahead. Please introduce yourself, state your name and DOC number for the record.
Mark Kratzer, 713-534.
Okay, Mark, my name is Brendan Kelsey, along with me is Mr. Freeman. Mr. Rocha will be your panel. We're here for parole hearing. Ask some questions. You can respond. At the end, you can make a statement. We'll take a vote. You understand the process?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mark Kratzer, DOC number 713-534. You are a second-class offender. Parole eligibility date 11/25/2023. Good time 6/14/2024. Full term 1/16/2035.
Yes, sir.
15-year sentence.
Mhm.
Driving while intoxicated, fourth offense. You were revoked in 4/30/2021. Does that sound correct?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I believe so.
All right, Mark, how old are you?
I'm good.
How old are you?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm 44.
How many years have you been incarcerated?
A little over 3.5 now.
Is this the longest time you spent down?
Yes, sir. It's the first time that I've ever been incarcerated. So it's the longest. Yes.
Well, you lucky you hadn't been before then. I mean, you're a fourth offender. Usually by the time you get caught 4 times, you've done about 20 times.
I am. Yes, sir. Yeah. Mhm.
Well, tell me what's going on? Why you got an alcohol problem, obviously? Do you have a drug problem?
Sure. Both more alcohol. This time I've taken really to dig deep and understand that. And I wanted to know that since day one, because it's plagued me the majority of my life. And so I've really dug deep and spent a lot of time focused on that. And, what I really came up with, because I wanted to find the root cause, is that, from an early age, I was in high school, middle school, I was bullied, and it led me to really self-hatred and a longing to be accepted. And, I remember later on in high school becoming part of some groups of friends. And I remember that first time I was invited to a party and everybody was drinking. I just felt so almost euphoric being there and being accepted. And they were drinking and using alcohol. And that's when it began. But not only was the acceptance something that just made me feel good, but it was filling the huge void in my heart with drugs and alcohol, and it numbed me to that, and I didn't feel that pain anymore. And that was it. I was hooked on it, and it just led to low periods, and then would do all right, but I never dealt with it. I never started to try to make the changes to try to love myself again and to do what it takes to get there and understand where all this hatred toward myself came from, and understand how the drugs and alcohol numbed me to that. And so I started focusing on that when I got in and did some real serious self-assessments. And not only that, is I looked at the qualities that I do have, my core values, a person of integrity and goodness and love and joy and peace, and started to really see that. And this environment, this has been a huge opportunity for me, because without this, I don't think I would have had the time or the environment to make these changes. And being around this environment has really opened my eyes to the person that I am and my core values. And it slowly has started to, it was a long process to get back to a place where I love myself and I see myself for who I am and the things that I contribute to people and the love that I give people. And I've started to love myself again. And it's just been such a shift in the way that my life has been for so long. And it's what I needed.
Is that classes you've taken? So that's from being in Steve Hall where you really learned it? I mean,
it started before that. Steve Hall helped me blossom into, to really cement the changes, to see that and give me tools that helped me with some of the residual feelings that were left over. And, there I got extra counseling, and that helped out a lot. I was able to some one-on-one counseling, did every class that I could. I was a GED tutor there, which was therapeutic for me too, because, my mission in life is to love on others and help others too. But it's been such an overwhelming experience for me to make these changes. And without that program, there'd still be a lot of work. Do
you have a mental health diagnosis?
No, sir, I don't. I don't have a mental health diagnosis.
They'll see you have taken Paxil and you were taking Xanax and you had a lot going, taking a lot of drugs. Yeah, obviously you had a drug problem as well as a drinking problem.
The reason I had got on the Paxil, and right before this DWI, my grandfather died and it hit me hard. And so I had gone to the doctor and he put me on that. And so when I came to jail for the first time, I just figured, I don't know anything about this environment. I should probably stay on it. And so I did. And I just didn't know if it would help me through this process because I didn't know anything about it. But I have been weaning off of that Paxil because I'm at a place now where I don't need that. I know how to battle off anything that comes my way as far as mentally. I have a full heart today, and it's
No,
something.
I hear you, but wouldn't you think a doctor, would probably be a better idea for a doctor to make that determination? I mean, when you start weaning yourself off of drug, medications, and having you decide instead of a doctor, sometimes that's a problem.
Right, and I've talked to the nurse with her, and it's not like I've completely stopped taking it. But it's something that I want to reach long term, and something I will consult with the doctor on.
So what's your plans if you're to be released? Where are you gonna go? What you gonna do?
Sure. So last September, I came to work release from the Steve Hall program in Bossier. October, I started working for Clement Industries here in Minden, and started as a welder and a C-class welder, and today I'm an A-class welder. It's been one of the fastest transitions they've seen there. But not only that, they see the value I create, and they have started, a few months ago, I started training with the engineering department. I started training on the SolidWorks design program we use to design the trailers, and I'm at a point now where I design parts for the trailers. And last week I sat down with the vice president, and they want to keep me, and they wanted a commitment from me, and as well as I wanted a commitment from them. And so upon my release, they're going to make me the manufacturing engineer for the site, and they're working on a salary and benefits package now that's going to benefit us both.
What's your degree? You have a college degree?
I have an industrial engineering degree, and I have worked towards my bachelor's engineering just at different periods when I have the finances. The last time was in McNeese in 2017. I did another semester, but for them, they see things that I've been able to help implement out there, and they're just confident in my skills to do that. So
You're gonna try to stay there. You're not going back home where you had all these issues?
no, sir, I'm going to stay here. They've been there 75 years, so it's security for me. I enjoy what I do. Staying out of that environment down there is a positive thing for me too. And so that's my plan. It's a good opportunity for me. It's a new start. Enjoying something that I'm doing something I enjoy for work. And I just think it's going to be a good thing.
Right. No, I understand. Sounds like you're doing well. But it is concerning. I have kids and grandkids, and you're fortunate you hadn't killed somebody by now.
I am, absolutely. Yes, sir. And that haunts me. It disgusts me. And, that's why I focused so hard on trying to make the changes and getting to the root cause of this.
So are you an alcoholic?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So what about NAAA, those types of self-help?
So absolutely. I crave that kind of stuff because I need that. And so my plan is the church I was a member of in Lake Charles had Celebrate Recovery. And so that'll be one of my first steps here, find a new church and one that offers that, and being involved in that. Because the progress I've made through these years has been a big part due to the programs and that support. And that's not something I'm willing to just stop doing. It's something that I know it's going to have to be a part of my life for the rest of my life. And it's something that is going to be a priority for me to find and get straight into, and have that support as I'm adapting back to, living a normal life.
Do you have any kids? You're married?
No, sir, no kids, and I'm not married.
Mr. Kelsey, may I ask a question?
Okay, got a question? Go ahead.
Major Culpepper, good morning.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Is there anyone from Steve Hall in the room?
Yes, sir. Mr. Johnson's here.
Mr. Johnson. Has there been any consideration about Rivertrol when he's released?
So he did at Bossier. Did you look at the MAT class or anything like that?
I did MAT, yes, sir.
You did the MAT class? Okay. Did you learn about the Vivitrol?
I learned about the Vivitrol. It's something they offered there, but only to folks that were about to get out of the program. It's something I would be open to.
We do offer it here under a different person, but it's the same program. We have it here.
I would suggest that to you, Mr. Krazer. It will help you in along with the Celebrate Recovery.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm open to any help that I can get. And so it's something that I looked into there. I still had time left, so it wasn't an option then. But it's something that I would definitely be interested in doing. I want all the help that I can get, any kind of.
So you need to get with Mr. Johnson and arrange that.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Mr. Freeman?
Okay, I'll tell you what concerns me so much is that, you know, you've had 10 DWI arrests
Yes.
and you went to drug court in 2018 and you relapsed.
I did. Mhm.
So tell me what's gonna be the difference this time?
You know, I hadn't started making any of the changes that I've had the time to really do and invest in those changes over these 3.5 years. When I was in drug court, I was still working. I did drug court just successfully, and I wasn't prepared for the traumatic events in my life that happened. And you know, my grandfather dying just set me down a little spiral, and I was doing so good until that point. So learning how to deal with these things and just redirecting my focus away from negativity that happens has been a big step in the right direction for me, and a part of healing and getting my mental space where it needs to be to deal with that. But the support I'm going to have on the outside is going to be pivotal in that as well. During that time, you know, I worked so much that I didn't really attend the support groups like I should have. And I see that, and I notice that, and I acknowledge that as being something that has to change, that something that can't be made excuses for, that has to be a priority in my life for me to be successful.
You know that other people around you are going to pass away. You know that, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
We have people that we all go through, you know, difficult times. People pass. So again, you know, what if you just go off the rails again? If your father passes or your mother or whoever's out there still living.
I'm in a better place mentally, emotionally than I've been in my entire life now. I'm stronger than I have been. I realize and understand the fact that I don't need the drugs and alcohol to mask my emotions. I can deal with them now. I don't let them influence my actions. I'm happier and have more of a full heart than I've ever had. And it's been these 3.5 years that have helped me get to that point. And then the Stephen Hall program really started to show you how to deal with that stuff and how to redirect your focus away from that and to seek out the support you need and have that in place and to talk about it to people and let people know how you're feeling, which is something I never did. I just buried that stuff inside.
Sure.
You know.
Sure. How's he done in the class?
He didn't take the classes here, so I can't speak out of personal.
Okay.
But he graduated just fine with no write-ups, is my understanding, and was a tutor while he was there.
Okay.
And I can tell you this as well, as I had more recognitions and awards than anybody in that program the time I was there. Because I went there focused on doing my very best in there, giving it everything I had to change. And, you know, I've got a stack of them. And so I can assure you that I gave it all. And I gave it all.
That's good. That's important. I just want to make sure you maintain that on outside, because again, you know, people like you are smart, you know, usually have a job. We see this all the time, but this is our biggest fear. You guys are our biggest fear because
Absolutely.
you have done it over and over and over and over. And you get out and you know, you have one drink and it's that same cycle. So I mean, that's, you know, you're doing everything right. Again, you're smart. You got a great opportunity. You best in your class. I'm sure Steve Hall. Just concerning. You know, these are the ones that are difficult for me. You're saying the right things. Look, and I believe you. I believe what you're telling me. I don't think you're trying to to feed me some bull, but it's just concerning.
Right.
Okay. Well, would you like to make a statement on your behalf?
Sure. Yeah, y'all allowed me to get a lot of stuff out. I think that everyone has the right to be concerned of how I'm going to be in the future. For me, I almost wish this process of being locked up had happened sooner, because I've really had the time to dig deep and start making changes that are going to benefit me and help me be successful for the rest of my life. And I don't think that I would have had that happen if this hadn't come my way. So all I can do is ask for the opportunity to prove to you and give you my best to be the best person that I can, to be successful, to be a successful member of the community. And I want nothing more than to live a successful life from here on out, and to just, have a happy life and not have any of this past, just leave it in the past.
Sure.
I don't accept any of that anymore, and I won't accept it going forward. It ruined half of my life, and it's not going to do it again. I have too many goals that I'm working towards, and happiness is one of them, and there's no room for drugs and alcohol in it. So I'm going to do everything that I have to do to maintain my sobriety, to have a successful life, and accomplish the things that I want to accomplish for myself, my family, my community. And all I can ask for is an opportunity to do that and to prove that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I'll move for it.
We got a motion for executive session. Second, roll call, please. Yes.
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 We'll be back shortly, okay?
Okay.
I wonder what they're talking.
Discussing.
Interesting. I was watching like the guard in the background, and he seems like really like into it. He's like listening and nodding his head, and it's then the thought came to me that this inmate is probably making, while locked up, 3 times or more his salary, and that's just like, I'm throwing numbers out there, but he's making more money than him. And can you imagine being a guard at a prison and jail or whatever, and the inmates making more money than you? I hadn't thought of that before. For those of you who haven't seen this in work release, there are inmates that make more than $100K a year working on the oil rigs and stuff. And I don't know what he makes. It seems like he's manufacturing engineer of the plant, and I'm guessing that he makes good money doing that. It's interesting in retrospect to the 2 previous cases that we just did. In retrospect, is that the right word? But they bring up Vivitrol again. I can't tell what it is with him. It's again with like that kind of too polished thing, and I feel like he's saying what they want them to hear, and I just feel like I would like just you're doing great where you are, And man, imagine I think he's 43 years old. Imagine being 43 years old and sitting and saying, well, I got the most awards in all of Steve Hoyle. But he's proud of it if it's true. I don't know. I can imagine it is. He's a smart guy, and he seems to throw his energy. And a lot of addicts do this. They throw their energy when they're sober at something else. And I think that's why you can be an addict that's obsessively in the gym all the time or doing the wrong things. And there's an article we'll go over after this, just one article. But you think that they're going to grant him? I felt like the more he talked, the worse he did for himself. Like he could have just answered their questions, but he was talking and talking and talking, and then, it's like, well, my grandfather died, and that took me down this, and it's like, dude, like you're in your, it's gonna happen. Like, and that's kind of what he said to him. Like, dude, people are gonna die, people are gonna pass away, and he starts off with learning to love yourself again, and that's what we've heard that a few times, and I agree. I think that on the path to recovery, it is about loving yourself again. Whoops.
All right, thank you. We're back, back in order. We had discussed some things. Panel is prepared to vote. Mark, look, man, you are a smart guy. You have a great job. You're working, you're doing excellent. These are, like I said, these are the cases that I struggle with. Because outside of 10 arrests, going through drug court and doing all the things you have not been able to complete, there's another 20, you've probably been driving drunk for God knows how long. Right. And you are absolutely doing the right stuff. You're working hard. You have a good job. But look, I am concerned. I'm concerned about the amount of arrests. I'm concerned that you've done 3 years on a 15-year sentence. I'm concerned about a lot of things. It's difficult for me today. And look, you're doing the right thing. But for me today, it's just not quite the time. I would like for you to get involved with the Vivitrol, get there, discuss that, go through that again, see if that's a good option. You have a really good job, and you're going to have a great opportunity. But for me today, I'm just not quite there. My vote is to deny your parole because of the fourth offense DWI, because of your charges. I think you still need to continue to work. And I would encourage you to get involved with the Vivitrol and see if that's an option for you. I also would like for you to have some type of mental health evaluation, because I look at anxiety and depression doesn't just go away. That's something that we deal with. I think you're a smart guy. You can, medication helps those things. Right. And instead of kind of self-diagnosing yourself or taking medicine off or not, just get with a professional and say, hey, look, do I need some anxiety medicine? Do I need depression? Let's work through this. And I think you're so close, and you're right there, and you know what it takes. And sometimes, you got to be able to handle a little disappointment. That's just one vote. That's for me. But I wish you the best of luck, but I'm just not ready today. Thank you. Mr. Roche?
Mr. Krazer, my vote would be to grant your release. Upon release, you'll have a curfew from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. You must follow all the recommendations of the Steve Hall program. You must attend at least 3 NAAA or Celebrate Recovery meetings a week. You must do 4 hours of community service. Get with your parole officer and find an avenue where you can give back to your community.
Absolutely.
And then lastly, you are required to wear a scram bracelet. That's an alcohol bracelet. 24 months after your release at your expense.
Okay.
All right. Mr. Freeman?
Mr. Kratzer, this is just like Mr. Kelsey said, and Mr. Roche also is a very, very intelligent person. You have a great work history now. You have a good job. I hope you stay up there. I think that'll help you. But my problem is you had 10 DWI arrests, probably could have been arrested another 20 or 30 times. And I got to err on the side of public safety. So my vote today is to deny.
Okay,
But you have 2 votes to deny your parole and 1 vote to grant. Today, your parole's been denied. Good luck to you.
okay, thank you.
46.
Thank you, gentlemen. So,
That's the second time we've heard Mr. Freeman say, I have to err on the side of safety. He said it for the last man who had that, if you remember him, he had that perfect interview. Too perfect, I thought. So I wasn't, I wasn't a fan. You know, it's interesting is that Mr. Roche, the choice that he gave makes a lot of sense. You're going to wear a scram bracelet for 2 years. It's like you're saying, well, keep the man locked up, keep him on work release. For how much longer? It's not like he's going to do any better, right? You're just, the whole purpose is for public safety. I mean, the last thing this board wants is a frontline news article that man released, right, gets into an accident, does something. But the scram bracelet's got to be a pretty good way to stop it. Now, at the same time, I don't blame Mr. Freeman for voting that way. You know what's interesting, Mr. Brennan Kelsey, who's in the middle gentleman there. I like his interview style, but you know, he's bringing up the whole like therapy thing, and you know that he I don't know how, you know, the governor elects nominates the board members, and I just don't know what his qualifications are. Mr. Kelsey is a physical therapist with 20 years experience, 15 of which were in his own private practice. So what that means is he's a physical therapist. Throughout his career, Mr. Kelsey has worked in a variety of settings, including mental health, outpatient rehab, and acute care. That's working in variety of settings. He's not a therapist. He's worked as a physical therapist in those settings. Mr. Kelsey received a Bachelor of Science. Was he like a bachelor? Okay, let's just finish it. A Bachelor of Science Physical Therapy from Louisiana State Universal Medical Center, a Master's in General Business and Healthcare from Southeastern Louisiana. He was appointed by Governor John Bell Edwards to serve as an at-large member of the Committee of Parole. So I think at-large, I think he comes in and fills vacancies, and he's not on like the commutation boards and stuff. We see him every now and again, and I do like his style, except what I don't like about him is when there's, and I've seen other board members do this too, but you could see the victims can be like, you know, something seriously bad happens to them and they could be in tears, and he'll just interrupt them, and there's like no empathy at all. And next, it's like you can see he's good at it. He's good at what he does. He's kind of reminds me of Mr. Marabella, almost like a clone in some ways. But what's his qualifications? I just don't really get that. I mean, it's almost like he's the governor's therapist, and the governor's like, you know what? I'm gonna elect you. I'm gonna nominate you to be on the board of paroles. What made me look at this, Griggs actually commented that, and I'm like, what? Is this true? And I went and took another look. That reminded me, because he's talking about, you know, not taking yourself off medication, which is definitely a good idea. That was something else he was kind of caught up in. He's like, oh, I started not taking it, and then they're like, well, you shouldn't just not take it. And then he's like backtracked and said, I don't know, I'm doing it with the nurse. And you know, it was like he was trying to say what he wanted them to hear, type of thing. Right, where was I? arrested for 10th DWI. Now, I don't know what it means, arrested for 10, but you only have here it says third offense. Like, I don't get it. And I think this was his, do I have in my notes? Was it his fourth felony DUI? I don't, like, what's that mean? Arrested for 10th, but you're only convicted on 3 of them? I don't understand that, what that means. Someone has to tell me. And so they found him in his Ford F-150 in middle of the roadway at 5 p.m. in the afternoon, January 8th, 2020. He had struck a guardrail several times before stopping in the middle of the road. A person also witnessed the crash, stopped to help, and saw that he was unresponsive. The witness gave him CPR until medical personnel arrived. Wow, can you imagine giving a man on the road CPR? When the trooper spoke, they say it was obvious that he was impaired. Kratzer was then placed under arrest for careless operation and third offense DWI, which is based on the number of times Kratzer has been convicted in the last 10 years. I see. So 10 arrests, but he didn't get 10 convictions. He just got convicted 3 times. And he was sent to a local hospital for treatment. The state police say the records show that he's been arrested for DWI 10 times since 1996. That probably means that, just taking a gander here, but he probably is driving like drunk pretty much every day. Or at least, just throw it around the number 100 times a year for 10 years would be 1,000 times. And it's like just the matter of times that he got caught. How do you get, I guess maybe DUI guy is his lawyer. He keeps getting him off. Got him off 7 times. It's interesting. On one side, I like Mr. O'Shea's idea because it seems like that you're still protecting the public. And at the same time, I'm okay with him not getting out because I guess I don't, maybe scram braces aren't foolproof. He's an engineer. Maybe I don't know. I have no idea. But to me, that seems like, hey, just put on a scram bracelet. That seems like a pretty good idea to me, and it'll save the taxpayers a lot of money. But I'll have to hear your thoughts. Thank you for being here with me, with everyone. And with that, I'll let you go.